A bright young girl is bullied every day, and she eventually takes her life. However, she returns as a soul and starts exacting revenge on everyone who bullied her. Can she be stopped? Or will she wipe out everyone? Let's find out with the 2014 horror movie called Morning Grave. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to the main character, In-Soo, a young college student with a rare capacity to sense ghosts roaming around him. He constantly wears a locket that rotates whenever a ghost spirit approaches near him. Some of his classmates make fun of him in the subway, claiming that he is known to see ghosts. He witnesses a girl's ghost inside the metro as his friends are tormenting him. Seeing such sights disturbs him to a great extent. He is terrified by the incident and decides to return to his hometown to see his uncle, Soon Lee. Following that, we see In-Soo return to his hometown, where he meets a lovely young lady named Rose. Later, In-Soo meets his uncle, Soon Lee, who seems to have the same capacity to sense ghosts like him. He inquires of In-Soo as to whether the locket gifted to him by his great-grandpa is still of use to him. The locket is the same, which spins if it senses any ghost spirit around. The next day, In-Soo gets admitted to his childhood school. Inside the school, he gets noticed by one of the bullying gangs. They find In-Soo weaker and start tormenting him. One of the girls from his classroom, named Hyun-ji, seems to be interested in him despite having a boyfriend, Hae-chul. Suddenly, In-Soo spots a girl ghost wearing a mask outside the classroom and senses the presence of a ghost spirit around the classroom. While returning home from school, Hae-chul follows In-Soo and beats him up. He also warns him from talking to any girl from the school and to stay away from Hyun-ji. Hae-chul tries to threaten him by reminding him of the case of Ah Young. Afterward, we see a girl student who is a friend of Hyun-ji. When she gets home, she discovers a polythene bag hanging on the front door. She tries to open the polythene to discover blood inside it, which is spilled all over her head. Before she can make any successful call, she is attacked by the masked girl. Hyun-ji's female friend is taken to a storeroom by the masked girl, who binds her wrists and legs and eventually kills her. One day, In-Soo and Rose are strolling together when he mentions Ah Young to Rose. Ah Young was a childhood classmate of In-Soo's, but she was discovered dead one day. The scene shifts to a flashback where In-Soo sees the ghost spirits. Ah Young's comes in front of him, asking that he should inform everyone about her murderer. However, In-Soo is unable to do so and decides to leave the area and go to the USA for further studies. At present, In-Soo arrives at Ah Young's residence and introduces himself to her father. In-Soo senses Ah Young's soul nearby, who waves her hand to bid him farewell. Following that, Rose and In-Soo head off to explore the area, enjoying one another's company. Despite the fact that Rose is a spirit, they begin to get along seamlessly. Later, when In-Soo and his uncle are watching the news, they see a solved murder case where the killer is finally apprehended after 10 years and is found to be wearing a mask. In-Soo sees the mask and recalls the masked girl ghost he saw at school. Suddenly, a female spirit living with them tells them that the masked girl's name is Sae-hee. Late at night, a pair from the bully's gang is caught having love times within the school grounds. Meanwhile, the girl dashes to the restroom, leaving the boy alone. While waiting for her to return, he gets ambushed by the masked girl and gets knocked down. The girl inside the washroom hears a thumping sound and thinks that it's her friend and yells at him to stop. When she attempts to leave, the boy's body is placed in front of her. She panics and tries to contact her friends, but the masked girl comes in front of her and admits that she is Sae-hee. The next day, In-Soo attempts to get information on Sae-hee at the school. He inquires of everyone in the classroom, but no one dares to talk about Sae-hee, despite the fact that they are aware of her. They seem to be afraid of the bullying group. Later, while In-Soo and Rose are enjoying their time together, he receives a message from the same girl who tried to provide him information on Sae-hee at school. She includes a photo of Sae-hee in the message, as well as a statement indicating that she should not be questioned about Sae-hee anymore. Realizing that the bully group had murdered Sae-hee, In-Soo pursues Hae-chul from behind, but is beaten instead. He tells them that he knows they have killed Sae-hee, leaving Hyun-ji speechless and helpless. After Hae-chul continues to beat him, he advises that they tell everyone about what they did wrong with Se-hee. Hearing this from In-soo, Hyun-ji shows Hae-chul a photo of Se-hee's father and recalls her pal's disappearance. They believe Se-hee's father is the one who is murdering their friends in order to get revenge on his daughter. To put an end to it, they resolve to track down Se-hee's house and kill her father. Despite Hae-chul's refusal to inform In-soo, Hyun-ji secretly messages him about their whereabouts before entering Se-hee's home. When Hae-chul and Hyun-ji walk into the house, they hear a thumping noise from a box. They are terrified, and Hae-chul begins to toss his hands around while Hyun-ji observes some flashy visions of Se-hee. They understand that the killings are being committed by the spirit of Se-hee. Se-hee's father emerges from the box shortly after and assaults Hae-chul. After getting Hyun-ji's message, In-soo arrives at Se-hee's house but is unable to locate them. On the other hand, Se-hee's father approaches Hyun-ji and she cries in terror. Even though she apologizes for her mistakes, Se-hee's father kills her. Hearing Hyun-ji's final cry, In-soo pursues it and he approaches the location from where Se-hee's father emerges. When In-soo enters, he finds the whole bully group dead on the floor. Following that, In-soo finds a half-opened container. He opens it to reveal Se-hee, who is dressed in a mask. After removing the mask, he is startled to discover that the female is none other than Rose. The scene then flashes back to Se-hee complaining to the head teacher about Hyun-ji's bullying behavior. The head teacher insults Hyun-ji and scolds her harshly. Enraged, Hyun-ji storms into the classroom, examining Se-hee's notebooks for a match to the complaint letter's handwriting. After she finds a match with her handwriting, her group starts bullying Se-hee. They begin to beat her, pull her hair, set fire to her hair, and even force her to wear a mask so that she would never be able to speak again. The other kids in the classroom pretend to be having a good time as though Se-hee is not present and they don't care about what's happening with her. Se-hee becomes enraged by the bullying and cries at home. Her father advises her to report to the head teacher about them, but she tells him that the teacher appears irritated by the continuous complaint and takes no action against the bullies. Fed up with the daily torture at school, Se-hee later hangs herself. After that, In-soo discovers a diary in which all the victims' names have been crossed out except for the name of the head teacher. Soon-Lee receives a call from In-soo, who requests that he go to Se-hee's house and execute the burial rites as he knows. In-soo then proceeds to the school in order to save the head teacher. In the next scene, the head teacher is terrified by Se-hee's spirit at the school. When In-soo arrives at school, he inquires about the teacher, but no one seems to have seen her. The library lights go out, and Se-hee appears in front of them, having possessed the head teacher's body. Se-hee informs them that because they all turned a blind eye to her when she was being bullied, they all deserve to be punished. In-soo attempts to stop her, but Se-hee grabs the lighter and throws it on the ground where gasoline was thrown before. However, Se-hee's alter ego, Rose, saves the students by catching the lighter before it can touch the gasoline. Se-hee appears to be the brave and dangerous character in this scene, while Rose appears to be the kind and innocent one. Se-hee then abducts Rose and takes over the teacher's body. With her spiritual strength, she begins to shatter everything in her path. On the other side, In-soo begins checking the magical locket on anyone who could be possessed by Rose. When he discovers the locket spinning around a girl, he tells her to stop everything and provides her with a notebook he found inside Se-hee's container. The scene swings back to a flashback, revealing that In-soo and Se-hee were childhood friends. She once rescued In-soo from Hae-chul's bullying. They appeared to be in love as children, since In-soo had sketched a picture of Se-hee in his notebook. In-soo apologizes to Rose's spirit for failing to identify her childhood companion. Rose is about to pass over the lighter to In-soo when she is interrupted by the demonic Se-hee. Just then, Soon-Lee completes the rite of liberating the spirit at this point, causing the dagger in In-soo's pocket to glow. Rose pulls out the dagger and stabs herself, after which we see In-soo and Rose's wonderful flashback memories. In the last scene, we find In-soo working as a teacher at the same school. He notices a spirit sitting on the last bench in his class. He asks the students about who sits on the last bench, and the class answers that a girl who used to sit there has lately transferred schools.